We all knew that it was for a film. We knew that Dylan had written the lyric and handed it to Roger on a napkin and said, "You can't use my name, but okay, here's a lyric." There may have been two versions of that song, I'm not sure, because I remember there's a cello part on there, and I remember we all hated Roger. Well, I wouldn't say hated, but we all were not very accepting of Roger's preoccupation with the synthesizer. And we would be very frustrated because he would spend hours messing around in the studio until he got a particular sound that he wanted, right? And I remember playing the cello part on Roger's synthesizer that's on that record. And Clive Davis came down to the sessions, the president of the record company at the time, told us how important that this song was to the movie, and that it was too short. And we all said, "What do you mean, too short?" He said, "Well, it has to be a certain length for the movie." He wanted us to recut the song. And we said, no. So he spliced it. You can hear, if you listen to that song, there's a point where it starts over. The river flows. It's exactly the same verse you heard in the beginning, because it had to be a certain length for the movie. So we all knew it was for the movie. We were pleased that it was for the movie, but we were not all like gaga and all like, "Oh my God, it's for a movie." Because when they asked us to make it longer, we said no. It was just music to us, you know. And the thing about Terry Melcher, you know, you say, okay, he added strings and everything, but he was right. You know, you listen to one of my favorite songs that we ever did was Jack Tar the Sailor, you know, and Terry wanted me to play with a pick. I don't like playing the bass with a pick. Terry would come in with specific arrangements in mind, musical textures in mind. He struck me as a guy who wanted to be in the band, wanted to be one of us, but because of his upbringing, he didn't have the same struggle that we all had. And I think that may have bothered him. He was a very sensitive guy. During that particular song, he wanted me to play with a pick, and I don't like playing the bass with a pick. I like to feel the strings. And we argued for a while, and then I, out of respect for him, I said, okay, I'll play the pick and play with the pick. And then there was a line that he had in mind, a bass line that he wanted me to play. And I certainly didn't like somebody telling me what to play. And at a certain point, I said, no, this is a very creative guy. He's the producer. I'll do what he says. I'll find the groove in what he wants me to do. And in retrospect, if you listen to Jesus Is Just All Right, boom, bing, boo-doo, boom, boo-doo-dee, boom, bing, boom, boom, boo-doo-dee, boom, boom. Clarence and I are doubling that line. That may have been one of the ones he wanted me to use a pick for, right? It's brilliant. Contrapuntal Vivaldi, right? You listen to the way we used to do it live, right? It was okay. I'm talking about Jesus Is Just All Right, right? The way we did it live was fine. You listen to that record, it's brilliant. It's like Jack Tar the Sailor. It's orchestral, right? So he had that kind of vision. He had like a real, I don't know, almost, if you can imagine a funky Beach Boys, right? Beach Boys with some grit, right? He came from that California school, you know, kind of a surfer guy and all that stuff. But he knew about the certain that was necessary in the music, you know. So I respected that in him.